Hi, I'm Ed, and you see a lot of videos I've done on my YouTube channel, but I've actually had a request on how to do the winterization procedures for a trailer like this. This is a Mallard M185, but the procedures are actually pretty similar on all different trailers, and there's two different methods you can actually use for winterizing a trailer. So I'm going to go ahead and call these the dry method and the wet method. So I'm going to go ahead and cover the procedures on how to do both of these, so that way you can kind of make your educated decision on which method you want to go ahead and do. Just for educational purposes, we did not actually winterize our camper, and we actually tried to haul our trailer up to a place in like Mammoth in the middle of December. We had empty tanks, but we did not actually drain the actual water lines, and so by the time we got up there, it was about 17 degrees, and all the actual water lines, even in a trailer like this with the heavy insulation and everything, the water line at the toilet actually froze. So with 5 people in there, it actually turned into a trip of disaster because yes, 5 people, frozen toilet lines, it is a very bad experience. Even though it would have been awesome having the snow and the kids would have had a great time, frozen toilet, not a good trip. So go ahead and go through the procedures on how to actually set up and winterize the trailer, so that way you don't end up having an experience like I did. Alright, so the first method I'm going to go ahead and cover is the wet method. So you may have noticed when you actually first picked up a trailer, if you did pick up one that was brand new actually from the dealership, is when you first turn on your faucet, that you may have seen some pink liquid that actually came out of the actual faucet when you first ran liquid through the system. The reason why is because the actual manufacturer, when they made the trailer, they actually winterized it first before they actually shipped the actual trailer. And this is the actual stuff they used. This was from Walmart, right around $2.50 per gallon. And so this is actually what we're going to use to put into the actual water lines to winterize the water lines. So the way we actually do this is we actually get to the actual pump, and Mallard did a really good job of actually getting this all ready to go for us. So I actually have to lift up the bed system here, and then come on over. In this area here, this is where the actual access panel is, where the pump is. There was a couple of screws in here that I actually had to remove, and I just left them out because it's always going to be down in the down position anyways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. Alright, so this is the actual, I don't know if you call this the pump room or wet deck or whatever you want to call this. There's lots of different analogies you can use for this, but this is basically where your pump is, as well as where the hot water heater, the back side of this. You see all the different valves and everything. You also have where the actual city water and also the fill comes in. And this is also where your city connection and everything comes in over here. So what you also may have noticed, if you actually look a little closely, there's an extra little loose little hose right here. This is actually for the antifreeze. So what I'm going to do is just drop this jug in here, open this up. I already removed the seal. So all I really have to do is take this and just stick this into here. And I'm going to go ahead, and there's a valve right here that goes down into the tank, into the water tank below. I'm going to close this valve so that way when the pump comes on, it doesn't pick up water from the tank. And I'm going to open this one so instead it picks up from here. So now the pump is going to run, and it's going to push water, or it's going to push the liquid through the pipes. Now the next thing is I'm going to go ahead and put the hot water heater into bypass mode. Okay, so you need to drain the hot water heater, obviously. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open the valve here on the T-points. And I'm going to close the other valves. So there's the cold, there's the hot. So now the water, when it's pressurized, is going to go through here. It's just going to bypass straight through. So now the hot and the cold are both going to get pressurized with this pink stuff. Okay? So now I'm just going to go ahead and turn the pump on. Okay, the pump is on. There was already a little bit of pressure in the line. But from here, now all I'm going to do is just come over here to the sink, and I'm going to run this until I see pink.
Not quite yet.
So the first one always takes every few moments. There's the pink. Okay, so now I can go and switch over to the hot side and do the same thing. Oop, there's the hot. Hots are, oop, there we go.
Pink.
So the cold already has it. Now I just got to do the same thing for the hot side. So the reason why it looked foamy is because this particular nozzle injects air into the system, so that way it actually gives you more volume. So that way you're not wasting as much water, especially when you're boondocking. So that's the reason why it looks kind of foamy. But
it still works.
Oh, there we go. There's pink. Okay. This is the non-toxic antifreeze that's designed for the RVs. So this is perfect. And the next is to go ahead and check and do the same thing for the other ones. But because we already have it already in the lines, those shouldn't have to run nearly as long. So same thing with the with back here. Okay, there's the pink.
Now the one.
Get clear, and there's the pink.
So basically, we have to check all the water and make sure if it's pink in order for it to work.
Yeah, that way you have the antifreeze actually in the lines. So that way it keeps it from causing the expansion and actually causing the lines to actually bust. This is the wet method of winterizing the trailer. Most certainly do not forget the toilet.
Oh, clear.
And there's the pink.
Yay! And now there's pink spots. Looks like mud.
If your trailer happens to have an outside shower, do not forget to winterize that as well, because you do have water inside the hose as well for this. So you want to make sure that you also winterize, make sure you run the lines for that as well.
Still clear.
Oh, I think we pulled the bubble.
No! I have no idea what that is.
Pause it. And there we go, pink. And don't forget the hot side.
Already pink.
Oh, no, it's going to be white first. And there's the pink. Okay.
It smells like strawberries.
So there we go. We have our antifreeze all set for everything.
Yay!
Alright, so now it's just a matter of removing this, letting it dribble out. So the process of doing our sink, hot and cold, shower, hot and cold, and the toilet as well as the outside shower. So that's how much of the antifreeze we have left. So not too bad. So if there's like another appliance that was inside of a trailer like this is a 21-foot trailer, this would be roughly a gallon of the stuff that you would actually use to go through to winterize an entire system, unless you're you are actually wasting it. So obviously don't forget to drain your hot water heater as well.
Yeah.
And obviously you want to make sure you don't forget to change your valves over as well. So this was the antifreeze drain valve, or sorry, the antifreeze pickup valve, and then this is the tank shutoff valve. So we're going to open that back up, so that way next time the pump runs, it's going to actually pick up from the bottom of the tank. Okay. So that's all there is, and then I'll probably grab a rag and get the rest of the little dribbles of stuff that's accumulated down the bottom from the hose. And that's it. So just remember that you left your system in bypass mode, so that way when you go ahead and pull it out of out for the season, that your hot water heater is not going to be working at the moment because you're still in bypass. So the process for that is go ahead and get back in here and shut the bypass valve off, and then open this guy and that guy. So here are the oops. So make sure you're if you're already winterized, you want to make sure you don't do that, because obviously it just tried putting water inside the tank here. So for coming off the winter season, in order to be able to get this all ready to go, you want to get all that pink stuff out of your lines. So the easiest way to do this is to go ahead and run the system just a wee little bit. You can run the system thoroughly with a little bit of city water, but at the same time, it would be a good idea to put some water in your tanks as well, so that way you can actually flush the water all the way through your pump as well. I still have a little bit of water in the system right now. I'm gonna go ahead and run that, but at the same time, I'm also gonna flush through and purge as well from the city water connection at the same time. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the water from my tank first, because I want to make sure I get all of that pink stuff out of my pump. So got the pump on. We'll run this, and so there's the that pink stuff.
You gotta wait for it. It's foam.
That's purging it all through the main lines right there.
lot of pink. There it goes, getting clearer.
There we go. Hot water is in bypass right now. And then purge out the hot water side. So the stuff is non-toxic, but at the same time, you don't want to like chug it directly just because you can. That's not what you want to do.
Look, your fingers are turning pink now. There we go.
There you go. It starts coming out like a milky, and then it starts clearing up a bit.
Yay!
All right.
That goes immediately.
Yeah, because you already got the main lines through from the pump to this side already cleared out, so it's just a short distance to clear out. Whoosh.
Yay, pink.
There we go. Get all that pink stuff out.
I have a question though. Why use the color pink to do that stuff?
Well, I'm not sure why it's pink, but I guess you don't want it to be clear because then you can't tell if it's something is in there or not.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's all set. So there's that. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and shut off the pump on the inside. I'm just going to go ahead and run some extra water from the city water connection. That way I can make sure that all of it is out because I don't want to have my kids, drinking any of the stuff anyways. I mean, it's non-toxic, but the next thing I need is the kids complaining because, Daddy, the water tastes funny, and then it's just going to ruin the whole trip because then they're going to think psychologically there's something wrong with the water. So that was the wet method of winterizing a camping trailer RV. This works. It's $2.50 from Walmart, and it is a little bit difficult to actually work with, though, because obviously you have to have a line that's actually set up right around the actual pump so you can actually shut it off and then run it through. You have to make sure you keep in mind which valves are open, which ones are closed, so that way you don't actually accidentally send water through in places that you don't want to, and make sure that you don't forget anything. So it is a little bit labor intensive, but it does work. So kind of neat product, actually. And this is what the manufacturers use, and that's what they are basing their warranty off of. So the next method I'm going to go ahead and cover is the dry method. So I've already purged the lines out, and we actually have fresh water running through the system now. I'm going to go ahead and show you the dry method of actually doing this. This is a Camco adapter to basically use air to blast the lines out instead of using the antifreeze method instead. Okay? Alright, so in order to use the dry method of winterizing your trailer, what you're going to do is you're actually going to hook this mechanism up to the city water inlet connection. Okay? When you look very closely at the actual back of the package, it basically tells you do not exceed the 50 psi air pressure, which makes a lot of sense because when you're going to a lot of these RV resort style parks, a lot of people are being told to use the regulators on your water lines. These regulate the pressure around 40 or 50 psi for the actual water pressure, so it keeps you from blowing all the water lines out inside your actual trailer, just in case the water pressure gets up too high. So same pressure settings for this. So in order to do that, you need a air compressor that actually has a regulator built onto it. Alright, so this is an air compressor that I have here, and this guy's already pressurized up, but this is the regulator knob that I have on here, and you have the tank pressure already full, but the outlet pressure is basically cranked up to max. This thing is already set at 110, way too high a pressure. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and adjust this. And it's going to adjust the pressure down, so that way I'm actually going to set this to be on the cautious side at 40 psi. So now I have my actual tank pressure, right, is up high, but my actual regulated pressure that's actually going to the actual line is down lower. So now when I go ahead and hook up my air line right here, I'm going to go ahead and actually hook up to that actual nozzle that's on the outside of the trailer and start pressurizing the lines with air. I won't blow past the 50 psi of recommended. So when you're doing the actual dry purging like this, you want to make sure your pump is off. And the next part of this is going to be to turn one of the valves in here on. Okay? This is very difficult to actually do. It's a lot easier to work with if you have two people working this, but if you're doing this by yourself, you have to basically come in here and basically turn on the valve, and then go outside, and then run the air, and then basically wait for the actual air pressure to basically be flowing through the system, and you'll basically push all the water in the actual system. Much easier if you have another person helping you. All right, so I'm ready to go on this. I actually opened the window so I can actually hear the faucet, and I can actually also look through here. And I can see the water running at the sink. So once you're satisfied with the amount of water that is not coming out of the faucet anymore, it's just air, then it's just a matter of stopping this, going back inside, and then switching over and doing the hot, and then basically just repeating the process for each of the actual fixtures actually inside. Because I'm sitting actually right here, may as well go ahead and do this for the external shower. Oop.
This is the dad tab when my dad told me to do the cold. So my dad's right now outside putting the air through these things. So next we're going to try hot. I'm going to try the toilet.
Alright, so that concludes the winterizing using the dry method on a trailer. So the method for basically pulling it out from the winterizing after setting up with this is just a matter of turning the pump on after putting water in the tank and just letting it run and actually pushing water back through the system because it's just air in the lines. Cross comparison between the two, the liquid system, the wet version, this is quite labor intensive. You have to sometimes get into the actual panel. You may not have the actual lines in there to run. The Mallard system did, so it made it really easy to actually work with this. However, it's still labor intensive because you still have to kind of go to every single faucet, still have to run it. You have to do that anyways. But actually having to climb underneath the actual bed system and actually getting into where the actual pump is located, it was a little bit more of a challenge. This one is a lot easier because I can actually get to this a lot better. But however, the problem is doing the dry method is this only goes through the actual city water connection, which means there's probably a couple feet of section where there's tubing, which is right near the pump, which is kind of an important section, that this does not purge. So the difference on this is you're probably going to have one of these with you, maybe an air compressor, when you're on travel. So if you know you're going to be going into a cold environment, this is very easy to take with you and be able to actually winterize the actual trailer. However, this is going to be a little bit more difficult to maybe carry with you. It takes up more space and everything like that. But it really is kind of a cross comparison. This is more complete. This is a lot easier, in my opinion. It's kind of a, you know, cross comparison, but it's kind of your personal choice. So hopefully this comparison between the wet and the dry for actual winterizing the actual trailer is going to be helpful for you. If this was helpful for you at all, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe buttons on this feed. There's lots of other videos for setting up and actually doing various improvements on the actual trailer systems. So go ahead and hit the comments below. I'll try and respond as best I can. And have a nice day.